What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Called. This is episode 6, and today I have a past SM from YAP. DJ, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is DJ Roberts. I am a junior, and I went to YAP Micronesia as a high school PE teacher.
Dope, awesome. And just to get right into things, why did you decide to SM in the first place?
I chose to go as an SM. It was something my family had done, members of my family had done before. And I don't know, it was after my sophomore year, I was getting really kind of burnt out of Walla Walla and being in the dorm. And I had grown up knowing all the same people. I went to the same grade school and high school, and then even going to college with some of my friends. And so I was like, dang, I've never actually had to go somewhere else or meet new people. Like a new school experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I was like, dang, I'm so burnt out. I gotta go do something super random. So that's why I
went. That's awesome. And why did you choose to go to YAP?
YAP specifically, I had no idea where that was. I talked to Brittany, the previous missions director, coordinator person, and I was saying I don't really want to go. I've been to Ponape before, and I was like, I kind of want to go somewhere different where I can still be a PE teacher. And the two places besides Ponape was I think it was Chuk and Yap, and neither of them I had been to or heard of. And so I decided that, I kind of prayed about it a lot, and I guess Yap was just, it sounded really random, and I was like, Stone Money sounds cool, and I guess I'll go there.
That's cool. And so while you were there, you said you're a PE teacher.
Yeah.
Was that for just high school, for elementary, both, or what did that look like?
It was supposed to be for just high school, but I'm sure man. It's never just what you sign up for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but basically, I was supposed to just do grades 7 through 12 PE, and then they were like, "Hey, can you help out with teaching a health class for ninth freshman health class, and then a life skills class for juniors and seniors, how to apply for college and writing checks and all this random stuff."
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing PE for all of the grades, to kind of help out some of the other teachers. And so basically, it was really fun. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but
yeah,
it was fun to get to know all the grades, but it was a little overwhelming at times. But
yeah, and I'm sure, as a PE teacher, all the students love you because for them it's oh, we just go play and stuff like that, I'm sure, and so they probably just love knowing that it was PE time and knowing that you're the PE teacher. But yeah, so what did your day-to-day look like, as far as at least try to maybe the most normal day-to-day? I know you're saying that you taught a couple classes here and there, but what was the most normal day-to-day life for you in YAP?
Yeah. We would wake up I usually woke up around 7 because school started at 8:15. So wake up at 7, and then there was every morning we'd have a worship. I don't know if you did the same, but we'd have a worship staff meeting before school always.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal. And then teach. We had a short school day. It was 8 to 2:15, and the reason is there's everyone gets to school on the same bus system, and the bus system has to go around basically the whole island, and so the buses only leave from 2:15 to 3, and so we have to be done if we want to get the students out without having to drive
kids home.
Yeah, so we would be done by 2:15, and then bro, honestly, it sounds bad, but I would lesson plan almost the day before, because your lesson plans that you plan for the week, bro, it's just it all goes out the window for me because I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I used
for
everything
sure.
in one day, or this is pointless, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd be either lesson planning or hanging out with the other SMs. We had a gym, so we'd play basketball, or um, yeah, I guess there's always something going on in the evening, like a um, what is it, like a prayer meeting for the church, or we'd clean the church, or lots of vespers for the church. There's a lot of church things,
Yeah.
uh, or we would eat together, or just random stuff. So there's not like a ton to do on the island besides the stuff to do with your people, like the
Hmm.
SMs. Because once like the sun goes down, everyone's supposed to be in their villages or wherever they are, and so
Right.
like 6 o'clock hits, and if you're not um, like either in your village or like specifically invited over somewhere else, then that's like, what are you doing? So you have to be like in a certain location.
Okay. And so, just to kind of bounce off of that, so was that like, like government restricted type of thing, or what was that like curfew? Like, was that just because of the school, or like I don't know, why was that in place basically?
Yeah, I got you. It was. I mean, I don't know why specifically they have it in place. It's not, you don't get like in trouble from the government, but
Hmm.
basically, their culture, a lot that it is like you don't make a bunch of noise. Like it's very respectful, and
Mm.
so when the sun goes down, it's like you can go over to other people's villages, but you have to have an invitation. Um, and so basically, just once the sun goes down, it's like culturally expected that you kind of like disperse to like
Yeah.
either be with your family or to be with your village. Or for us SMs, we want to respect. We don't want to come in and like try and change anything. So
Right.
we're like gonna
Right.
try and follow what they're kind of doing. But yeah,
Hmm.
not government mandated, just cultural.
Got you. Got you. And how was that adjusting to that? Were you even told about that before you applied, or did you was that just something you guys learned as you arrived? They're like, oh, by the way.
You can't go out at night. No. Oh shoot. I think once we were there's like an orientation in Hawaii, and they were like, hey, if you're going to Yap, it's pretty much expected that, um, I don't know, that you're going to be respectful. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a really important thing. So we knew it wasn't really good because if if you're super loud or like laughing a bunch, it people think you're drunk. Basically,
Mm.
that's the telltale sign. So
Yeah.
I guess. And so they told us about that, and I was like, "Oh shoot, where are we going? Like, what is?" Kind of freaked out. But after we got there, it kind of made sense. Like, if you were out after dark, because it's not like here where dark can be at like 4 or it can be at 9. It was
Hmm.
always at 6 p.m. I think
Right.
probably the same
Yeah.
for you there. It's like it just
Yeah.
consistently. I mean, I guess that's science, but yeah,
Because you're
consistently
close to the
always,
equator.
yeah, 6 p.m. or like 5:30. I don't know, but
Hmm.
anyway, um, yeah, we kind of realized that if someone was out after dark, it usually wasn't something too good. I mean, we had like basketball games that were after dark, but
Hmm.
you needed to have a reason basically. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, I mean, that's like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if like this is just like a universally thing. My mom always said like nothing good happens after dark or something like that.
yeah, true.
And so,
Okay, yeah,
but that's funny. So, was there any other like cultural differences that were pretty like big, at least in comparison to what we're used to here in Yap for you?
yeah. Um, yeah, I guess something that I didn't realize at first, and when I was getting ready to go to Yap, I could have did like a Wikipedia search, just like what is this place?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
they're like, oh, really known for their manta rays and stone
yeah. Mm,
money and culture and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's like the history. But no, it
yeah.
really is. They have like one of the most. They've stayed the most consistent to their culture,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like the stone money is still actually like ceremonial and it actually still
Wow.
means something. So you'll see these like huge round things, that are still important. They're like
Mm-hmm.
in the villages, and if you mess with them, it's kind of not it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And they have, this is kind of a not so good thing, but they have a caste system still a little bit in place where some of the, if you're like an outer islander, basically
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not like butchering this, but basically if you're an outer islander, you have like a lower standing than some of the main islanders, or just certain parts of the islands have certain influence over like the fishing, or
Yeah.
certain families have more sway, and there's like rich villages, and yeah, even though like if you just went somewhere you'd be like, oh, this is a normal thing, but it really is still like a caste system in a certain sense. And one of the students would be like, or like a parent teacher conference meeting,
Mm-hmm.
that we'd have seats set out, and certain people would sit in the seats, and then certain people would sit on the floor behind them.
Mm.
And I would like try and offer them a seat, and they're like, "Mister, no, no, no!"
Like we literally can't.
Yeah. And so I felt super bad because I was trying to like offer these people seats, but to them
Yeah.
it's like we can't be at the same level as, like,
Mm.
literally, like physically at the same level
Yeah.
than these other people. So that was kind of, I
Wow.
mean, I've never, yeah, I don't know, like a caste system. I had never.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. No, it definitely sounds like they because I've heard of things like that from like the island specifically, where things like that were very important, and it seems like in Yap it was like it still is very very important. Whereas like in all these other islands, because I know in Majro, there were things like that, but
Mm.
like more of like almost like history type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
SMs from like years ago were saying that this is what it was like, and now it's a lot more like westernized. Whereas in Yap, it seems like it's still very like prevalent to them and their culture, which is very interesting. Even when I was like looking stuff up for like the Mission Mondays quiz, I saw that
Yeah.
it was like the dialect itself is like one of the hardest languages to learn because like there's
Bro,
no like written books on it or anything like that. Like it's just passed down orally. Is that true?
that's the only way you could learn it, really.
That's
Like,
crazy.
students just telling me words, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get the drop on all of them, because I had heard from other people like, oh, try and learn the like a little bit of the, like
Yeah.
swear words and stuff. So if
Right.
your
Right.
students are saying bad things, you can be like, I'm not dumb, like I know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
but they would just say something, and I was like, I literally have no way of. I mean, we really enforced the whole only English only,
Yeah.
because I was like, there's literally no way to enforce this. And
Mhm.
so yeah, yappies, it's a good one. There's like
Wow.
4 words online about it, basically.
That's crazy. And was the language barrier hard to get around, or was everyone on the island pretty like they like for the most part they knew English, or at least could get use English to get by with you guys?
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't think there was like ever any issues. There's probably
Yeah.
one outer islander that I came in contact with, which I don't think they could understand me,
Hmm.
but it was like in a grocery store, and so like we were okay.
Oh
There was
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
where I like super had to rely on someone, and we couldn't
Hmm.
communicate. So English is pretty normal, but it's just these
Hmm.
little yappies conversations that happen a lot that,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, I feel that. Would you say what would you say was like the hardest part about teaching as far as like your actual like work, not like lesson planning, but like actually teaching the kids?
Mm. Um, Kind of what you referenced before. I don't know how it was in Majro, but um, the students kind of, I don't know if they were just testing me, or this is like how it actually was supposed to be, but PE was like, Mr. Why isn't this recess, basically?
Mm, mm,
And they already had like a lunch period, which was basically recess, like where they could
right.
just play volleyball or basketball. Um, like they already had those times, and so I tried to structure PE not to like where there's like actual like written tests, but where we were
Right.
actually trying to learn skills and that type of thing,
Hmm.
and new sports. And that's where I got a lot of the pushback, was like, um, trying to teach them sports that aren't basketball and volleyball, because it's like,
Yeah.
they're like, Mister, why would we play anything else? And I was like,
Yeah.
we could learn new ones, and they're like, why would we, And so I really had to push for, I'm a fan of like a bunch of different sports, so I was trying to like push flag football, and it was just not going to be
That's funny. Did you guys have the materials for that, like flags and even footballs and stuff like that?
Yeah, we had flags and footballs. That was a big deal. That the gym floor, they made, like, they didn't. I'm used to like either concrete or hardwood, or like the university used to have like rubber, or just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like weird. You remember the rubber floors?
Yeah,
Like,
I do remember the rubber floors. Yeah.
those were kind of nasty though. Actually, no, that's super off topic. But the floor of our gym was like coral, had like bits of coral in it.
Oh wow. Okay.
So the basketballs, after, I want to say like a month, would look like you'd left it outside, and there was, instead of like having the divots of each, you know what I mean, like where you put your hands in.
Yeah.
It was almost just like a smooth ball, like that one when you see it, like it's super crusty and old. And so I had to, like, as the PE teacher, I had to talk to people back home and try and get people to send like pumps and send basketballs. I needed so many, like so bad, but
yeah, no, I was like the coach for the team, and I remember like just getting basketballs was so hard, or like even just keeping them like safe, because the kids would just take them and then you would never see the ball again. And so I remember that was like such a big frustration, because like, I mean, if you're running like a game, or you're running like, especially running like practices, like you want more than like one ball, you know what I mean? Because you want like these kids to be like practicing their dribbling or something. But we would literally have, I think we had, at one point we had like 3 balls, and I think that was like the highlight. Like we had 3 balls, and we were like,
the most.
yay, we have 3 balls, And then like 2 days later we were back to just one. But yeah, that's definitely a challenge. Like, I think regardless of what position you take, whether it's you're teaching something, you don't have like the books for everything, or you're a PE teacher and you don't have like balls and different things like that, that's definitely a challenge. But what were some things that you would do to kind of just relax when you had your days off, or on the weekends when you weren't teaching, stuff like that?
I'm trying to think. We had to get really creative with our time, because since there wasn't so much we could do after dark, basically. So it was really important to us that we got along as like an SM group, because when you're just like hanging out with, like, I'm sure like everyone you were with in Madro, like if you weren't the guys you were living with, like you had to be tight, or else it would be just so weird.
Yeah.
And so that was really important, and we would we play basketball, volleyball together, or like everyone was pretty musical. Like we had most everyone had instruments, and we would practice and learn, bounce ideas off each other. Paint, like go out stargazing. I don't know, just kind of random. It felt like I was a little kid again, when you're a little kid and you go outside and you're just like, okay, what can I do? Like, this was kind of basically what it was. Just getting excited by the beach, and we watch movies sometimes, but it was mostly just finding things to do outside. And one of my friends, he was like super into working out, and over there they have like a gym where you can go, and there's workout equipment, but it's kind of far, and you have to like run there, or if you want to drive, but the gas is really expensive. So he like got like a 2x4 and attached like cinder blocks to the ends, and used it as, he would like curl with it.
Yeah.
Or he would take like a one of those like Home Depot buckets and fill it with water, and like workout buys and tries and stuff. I was just like, wow, he was devoted. So
how to get super creative with it.
we could work out with like construction equipment. So
that's cool. And I know on Yap the diving is like super cool. Did you guys get any chance to do that?
We did go out a couple times. We were gonna get dive certified, but I was planning on doing it in like April, and then we went home in March, so that didn't work out well. But We got to snorkel like a bunch, and the last Sunday, I didn't know it was going to be the last Sunday, but the last Sunday we were there, we went out and went snorkeling, and we got to see like a manta ray just
Oh, that's so
swim
sick.
by. It was like the most freaked out I've been, but
That's
it
so
was
sick.
nice, even though we weren't diving, to actually see like sharks and
Yeah.
dolphins and turtles and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a sick. Like I remember when we were in Hawaii, they took us snorkeling. I
Hmm.
forgot where. Do you remember where we went snorkeling for that?
Oh, yes, I
It's
don't
like
remember, some
super
beach.
super
Yeah,
like popular, like super iconic like snorkeling spot in Hawaii. Anyway,
yeah.
we went there and I remember the principals were like, "Oh, this is nothing compared to what you're gonna see on the islands," and like it was 100% true. Like
It's
everything,
true,
like
right?
as soon as I got into the water, like on Madras, I was like, "Oh yeah, Hawaii." Like doesn't even like
No, no.
doesn't even yeah not nowhere close to on par. So that's super cool. And I mean, you got to see manta rays snorkeling. That's so sick. Cause I think we saw like a school of rays, like eagle rays, but it
Oh
was when
yeah.
we were diving. But like but it's cool because you can see all that stuff like just snorkeling. Like you don't even have to go like diving on these islands. That's super cool.
Yeah, man.
Um, but anyway, that I kind of went off topic on there. But um,
Hey, dude, you good?
what do you think was the hardest thing about your SM year?
Oh, the hardest thing would probably be, if not just getting homesick. I mean, that's kind of
Mm,
that's sometimes difficult, but I feel like some people get over it relatively quickly. It depends on the person, but I think the hardest thing for me was, um, I think, like, coming back. Honestly, being over there was like, I really enjoyed and was awesome. And I think the hardest thing over there was I wasn't super passionate about being a teacher. After a little while, I was like, this isn't for me. Like, I'm gonna do my very best, but this isn't like my career. I figured
yeah,
out, like, it's probably not what I want to do for life.
yeah,
um, and so I think like the hardest thing was probably culture shock, either over there or coming back.
mhm,
Um, just readjusting is probably the hardest thing. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. Just to kind of touch on what you said about teaching wasn't for you type of thing. How did you cope with that to stay motivated to continue teaching while you were there?
mm. I'm sure a lot of, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. It's just maybe 25 to 50. Some people it's 100%, but 25 to 50% of the days you're kind of like, do I want to do this today? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a student, you can like call in sick sometimes, but as a teacher, it's like, no, like there's no one else that's gonna take these people.
Yeah.
And we had one of our teachers, who kind of like was in that same boat where he would call in sick, and then like we would have to take his students and teach them and stuff, and it was just like an extra burden. I was like, I can't do that to anyone else.
Mm,
So um, yeah, I would pray every single morning, and then like listen to, I don't, who did I listen to? I would just listen to like the hypest music I could, or like Kirk Franklin or something. I would just be like, dude,
yeah.
I gotta listen to something that's like super positive. And yeah, I think it was, the other teachers at the school are very passionate, and I was not. And so
Mm,
just kind of being like, well, I can't let them down. So I'm gonna act like really happy about this. So
yeah. I mean, no, that's definitely a good way to like look at it. I know when I would get like bogged down, I feel like you said, it's like 25 to 100% of like people will either experience it or they experience it every day. I probably did experience it at some point, at least, whether that was for like 5 minutes of me, like, I don't want to do this, or a whole day. I definitely would experience it. And I know like one thing, like you were saying, is like, well, if I don't do it, then like someone else is gonna have to pick up my slack basically. And I remember the same thing. Like there was a teacher who wouldn't really want to teach all the time.
mm,
And sometimes or like there was one teacher that would actually like she would get sick like quite a bit. It was the fourth grade teacher. And I just remember like we would have to find different ways to cover for them. I remember one time I took her kids and my kids, like, so I had like over 40 kids, like, and I was like trying to teach them. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, at least like, just knowing that in the back of your head, like everyone like that's a part of your staff is probably going through the same thing you are, as far as like they will have their days where they're not as motivated as they would like to be, or are at times, but like at the same time everyone's kind of going through it. So like at least one aspect of it is like everyone's going through it, so I better do my part to at least keep like the load as light for everyone as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you were talking about receiving culture shock when you came back home. Could you kind of talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, like you were talking about with the whole basketball, it's like it's hard to, in some places for sure, it's harder than others to find whatever you need, basically, whether that be food or sports stuff or shampoo or whatever it is. Like it could be either really expensive or just impossible to find. And I remember coming back in, when did we come back? Like March something? Like we came back
I
around the same. Did you come back at the,
I I came back in June.
you came back in June? Oh, dude,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I didn't, I feel like I should have asked you about this, but
You're
uh,
good. You're good.
when I came back with like a lot of the other island people, we, I think it was March something, but anyway, remember going to like a Walmart, and it was during
Mm,
COVID, so everyone was wearing masks and social distance and everything, and still, I was like, holy cow, this is too many people, and there's way too much stuff. So
mm-hmm.
there was like, literally, I was like passing someone in the, what is it, in like the aisle, and they were like needing to get by, and they were kind of like in a hurry, or I don't know if it was like
Right.
COVID or
Yeah.
whatever, and like I had like a panic attack. I've never had a panic attack like that before. I was
Mm.
just all of a sudden in the store, I was like, I am short of breath and I need to get out, basically.
Wow.
And so I had like the grocery cart, and I literally just like walked out of the store and like just sat in the grass for like 30 minutes. Like, okay, this is getting used to
Wow.
things again.
Yeah.
Just because there's not that many people in Yap, and the grocery stores are really small, so I was just used to whatever. And then to see everyone, I mean, the pace, like the island pace is like
Yeah.
slow,
Yeah.
chill. And if you get back an hour late, it's chill. But
Yeah.
everyone was in a rush when I got back, and I was like, I need to slow down. So
Yeah. No, I feel that. And I mean, kind of touching on that, would you like to elaborate more on your like the living situation as far as in Yap? So like trips to the grocery store, like how often would you do that? What the grocery stores look like, what your living situation look like your living space, stuff like that. So people can kind of get a feel for the difference of there to here.
yeah, for sure. We lived like on the school. I think the same as you, right? We lived in like on the school. Did you live on the school too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So just like houses or apartments on the school. And there's like one grocery store and then a couple other shops that you could go to. Like there's places that they would call grocery stores, but it's basically like a gas station sized place with food.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were some of those, but then it's just one main grocery store. And the school paid once a week for us to go like grocery shopping, and we got like, what was it, $200 a month, $215 a month to like spend on food and that type of thing. So we'd go once a week to get groceries, and our showers, like we had showers in I think we had like three for all of the guys, because there was like two separate rooms. Yeah, two separate living rooms, and then like all of the water was cold, bro. Oh my goodness. Even in the
Yeah.
islands, like sometimes it was nice, but like a hot shower, oh my goodness. I was like, it would be raining outside, and it was cold in the morning, and I was like, I'm not ready. I can't do this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and so yeah, cold showers, but that was character building. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
healthy for you or something. So I
Yeah.
didn't get
I
sick
mean,
much.
I've heard that before too, and I mean, I don't know. I definitely miss my warm showers when I got back to them.
Yeah, see. It's probably physically healthy. I don't think it's mentally healthy. It's
Yeah, for real. No, I remember like I'd wake up in the morning like having those like thoughts where it's like I don't want to teach today, and then I just think about wow, I really got to step into a cold shower right now when I would love to just be in a warm shower.
yeah.
To start off my day on a high note, but it would always just start on a low note with that cold shower. But oh man. But
And
was
then
there anything else? Yeah, continue talking
oh, I
about
was
your.
just gonna say, and then you see like you're about to step in a cold shower. I'm making this sound bad. I loved my year, but like I'm making this sound bad. But you step in the cold shower, and then there's like a cockroach or ants, or
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
just like, God, why right now?
yeah,
Why?
yeah. I feel that. Yeah. So were the cockroaches and the insects like bad in Yap, or how was it as far as for you guys?
Some some people really didn't like the cockroaches. Like for me, it was just kind of. I mean, I don't like them. Oh, dude, one started flying. When one started flying, I hated it. I was like, I was just chilling with these like cockroaches along the ground, and then one started flying. I feel like I was in the bathroom, and I was just like, dude, I like maybe should I buy a plane ticket back? Like, I don't know how worth it this is right now, but that was early on, thankfully, so I changed my perspective. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like cockroaches pretty normal in the islands. I hate spiders, and I saw like a pretty big spider, but not like Australia size, so it
Yeah,
wasn't too bad. Um, yeah, but and then everything else was pretty normal. There was like I saw a centipede or like I think it was a centipede, and it was like fat. I was like, oh, this is so gross.
yeah.
It was disgusting. Um, but oh, can you talk about the ants thing? Jeff was telling me about your ants. I like want to
Oh,
hear. Dude, they were
yeah.
like
So
aggressive or something.
I mean, yeah, dude, those ants were crazy, man. Like I remember, like they were. I think they were like red fire ants or whatever they were, and they wouldn't really like. They would just be everywhere in our apartments. Like they would love to like get into like towels and stuff like that. I don't know why, but that would be the absolute. If you didn't have a microfiber towel, that is okay. My side note: microfiber towels for the islands are the move because they they dry up a lot faster, and on top of that, the ants can't get into those. Whereas at least this, I guess maybe this is just a problem in Madro. I don't know, but if you have like a cotton towel, I remember I used a cotton towel like the first week I got to Madro because I didn't bring a microfiber. I ordered one later,
Oh
but
yeah.
I remember I would hang it up to dry like on my door. Like there was like a little hook, like normal. And then one day I woke up to take a shower and then I grabbed my towel and I you don't really think of like you don't think to check a towel for
Right,
anything,
right.
So I just like put it on me and then like I was just like drying myself off and then I just feel like these little like no, not little, like these like pinches all over
Oh,
my body and I was like what in the world? And I take my towel off and there's just ants like all over my
oh,
body just like biting me, bro. No, ants are crazy. And then sometimes they would like get into people's like beds and like mattresses, so like you would just wake up in the middle of the night like with a bunch of ants just like biting you. Oh man, that ants, honestly, ants were probably like the worst thing, like worse than cockroaches, worse than like I had a rat in my toilet once, but I would say the ants are still worse than that. I'm not gonna, I won't get into that story right now. But anyway, I just remember those ants, man. Those ants they were something else. But
bro, we're really selling the whole
yeah,
student.
okay, yeah, okay. Let's talk about some good things about Yap. So what were your like some of your favorite things about Yap and living there?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say side note. Microfiber towel sponsor for this podcast.
Honestly,
You gotta reach out,
honestly.
like travel towels or something. But best things about Yap, the people for sure. I mean, I'm sure everyone said it, but the kids, the best. Just brutally honest, but super open and amazing.
For sure.
Um, the Yap is a little more, from what it sounds like from the other islands. I've been to Ponape, and it definitely is true. But Yap is more. Their people are more shy until you get to know them, and then dude, I love them. They're just the best. So, yeah, definitely the people. I got super lucky with the like best SM group that I could have asked for. they're like my brothers and sisters. Like they're invited to my wedding. Like, it's just all this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like whatever happens in life, like they're always going to be family.
yeah,
And I would say, like, spiritually, I think it put me in a place where I was like, I can't compromise anymore. I can't just like slide by on through life without like praying and actually having a personal relationship with God. And so I think those are like probably the most valuable things to take from the experience, besides just the awesome things like being on an island and meeting new people and like
yeah,
rad animal experiences and all this stuff. Like I think
yeah,
I think the biggest things is like the kids, the people there, and then like spiritual growth. So those are my things. But
for sure. And what's one thing, that you could take, you're talking about some things that you took away from that experience. But what's one thing that you could take away from your experience there that you have been able to put into practice here? So that could be, you could talk more about your spirituality or something more practical, just anything that you think that you've been able to put into practice now that you're back from the mission field.
Yeah. I think living more simply, in terms of, I don't know, I haven't changed that much since I changed a lot when I was over there, but I feel like I'm still like a similar person to who I was before. But being grateful with the things that we have, basically, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not having having a towel with no ants in it, or like I still sometimes will go to the shower and I'm like, bro, this is nice. Like I'm living the and like, I used to complain about calf food a lot, and then I went to the calf. Like I've been to the calf a couple times, like once or twice since I've been back, and I'm like, you know what? I've eaten worse. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like sorry, I'm not trashing the calf, but like, I don't know. I complained a lot, probably more, and was less grateful for things. So now I'm just, like the opportunity for education and a roof over my head, and that there's no, like pressing worries, and stuff like that. And then also, just wanting to get involved in missions, or just mission work, whether that's like at the COVID clinic here in Walla Walla, or like CHE, or volunteering and that type of thing. I think it's just been like, I don't want to forget, forget that type of mentality. So
yeah, no, for sure. No, and I think I talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but basically just with the idea of, everything you do out in these locations, you can do here in the States in your own communities, it's something super simple. Even like just what you were saying before about how not taking things for granted. Like I feel like you hear that a lot, from, missionaries that go out and come back. But at the same time, like, I don't think you fully realize it until you've actually like gone somewhere and then come back and you're like, wow, like this is insane. Like even just the showers. I remember, we were supposed to catch a flight back home, and the flight got canceled, and so the airport gave us like a free like hotel. Like there was one hotel in Metro, and they're like, oh, you can stay there for the night because like we because the flight didn't come through, so there was like a little reimbursement type of thing until the flight came the next day. And so we're like, okay, like we might as well just use it instead of going back to the school, go to a nice hotel with like a nice bed.
Gotcha.
But I remember we got into the showers, and I was like looking around. I was like, wow, I haven't been in a nice shower in so long. And the thing is, like, I feel like, I don't know how it was for you, but the living situations for us on the school were already so much better than the ones like the locals have to, go to every day. And it's crazy because like I was like, I thought I was like toughing it out at the school, whereas like the locals are like, they sleep on the floor and they sleep in like rotations because they have too many people sleeping in their houses, all these different things. And then here I am like complaining about having a cold shower, but at the end of the day, I'm going to come home and then have a warm shower every night now and like good food. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely one aspect of missions, that very simple, but at the same time is very impactful on you and your life.
Sure.
But yeah, is there anything that you would want to say to someone thinking about going to YAP, that you wish you would have known before you had gone?
I wish I would have done it sooner. So if someone is like, not Yap specifically, I guess. I mean, yeah, I would go to Yap sooner, but like I've been talking to a lot of people who, like at the school, we've been doing the table outside the caf, and they're like, man, I just don't know if it's like the right time, or like I don't want to defer a year or all this stuff. And I'm like, it's so worth. Like I don't know how to tell people. Like it's just so worth, and it's like, it's never gonna be the right time. Like it's never gonna fit into your schedule nicely, and Yap is somewhere if you are maybe, I don't know. I want to say like not brave, but like if you're more willing to, there's like not the same amount of beaches. Like you can't just go to the beach every day, and not that I'm not saying that you did. I'm not saying like, oh, you had it.
No, you're good.
But I'm saying it's like a little bit more. The culture is a little bit more reserved, and so if you're up for that and up for just like working a little bit harder to get to know people, I think that would be like, I don't know. I think that's the app where it's really, really good, but it just takes a little bit of effort to like break down barriers to talk to people.
And I'm sure that it feels even more rewarding once you do, because you've gone through a little bit longer of a process than maybe other SMs do. But at the same time, you'll reap the benefits and the rewards so much more just because it feels that much better. But another thing, like you were saying, like about just when there's no perfect time or whatever, like I feel exactly the same way. Like I know people that have gone, their sophomore year, junior year, senior year, even after they've graduated. I had 2 SMs with us or 3 SMs that had already graduated, and they wouldn't replace it with anything in the world. They took a year off, they deferred, whatever. And they always say like, oh yeah, this was the best choice, or the best thing I did and the smartest thing. So yeah, that's definitely one thing that, as we're coming to, I guess not a close of this year, there's still like 6 weeks or something like that. But just something to think about if you are thinking about SMing. Definitely, if you have even just the slightest little tug, definitely reach out to anyone to talk about SMs or SMing. But is there anything, I don't want to take too much more of your time, is there anything that you would want to say before ending the podcast?
No, you're not taking my time. It's all good. But I appreciate you having me on. I think it's really dope to get to share experiences, even if just like, even if just one person heard it. Like I think it's worth, and I'm excited that you're doing this, and missions, bro. I know it changed my life, and it sounds like a lot for you too. So I enjoyed getting to talk to you about. I love hearing like everyone's stuff and like the ants too, everything. It's a good time, bro.
I appreciate that. But guys, for everyone that is listening and tuning in, just want to thank you guys for listening. And be sure to share this with anyone that you feel is even thinking about SMing. And thank you, DJ, for coming on. I appreciate the time that you spent and the experience that you're sharing with everyone. It's definitely, like you said, even if it reaches one person, then I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like that accomplishes our goal, even if it reaches out to one person. So with that, I'll close out the episode, and be sure to come next week to listen to another SM talk about their experience. So thanks again, DJ, and we will see everybody later. See you guys.